Spy Media here with a UKFC lightweight champion and the number 4 ranked amateur lightweight in the UK, Teddy Stringer. Teddy, how are you doing?
Good, thanks, Charlie. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad, thanks. Thanks for taking the time again. I appreciate it. We're coming off a good win against Connor Hughes at Celtic Gladiator. First of all, we're a week or so removed from the fight now. Just give me your reflections on that fight, if you could, please, mate.
So I'm pretty happy with the fight. Obviously, it's good to get back in the win column. I think that's the main thing for it, just getting back winning after a tough fight against Mark Ewan and then just wanting to bounce back. But it was good to do 3 rounds and look back on, reflect on how I can improve. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm not like over the moon with my performance, but a win's a win at the end of the day, and there's a few little tweaks that I want to make from that fight.
How crucial I think that win is now for your confidence as well, because after loss, was there nerves before that fight? Because I can imagine after loss, the doubts start creeping in. I don't want to lose 2 on the bounce. Was the nerves there?
Yeah, mate, that's spot on. It's like losing one fight, it happens. That's the fight game. But losing 2 in a row is, I mean, it's never happened to me, but I can imagine that is just shit. So before the fight, it was a little bit like, come on, Ted, we need to perform here. Now's the time to step up, get back in the win column, and kind of just get back to where we were going before the previous loss. So it was important for me just to get back in the win column and resume on the path to being number 1 in the UK.
You mentioned a minute ago you wasn't too happy with your performance. What was you really happy with, to be fair? So I thought it was a pretty good performance.
It was good. Like a few little things, like obviously I got him to the floor a few times, got the takedowns, but I just think I rushed a little bit on top. Didn't really settle down as much as I wanted to when we actually got the grappling changes. But the main one, the last minute of the fight, that's where it really annoys me watching it back, just because obviously I went for a Kimura and I rushed it and I slipped off and ended up on the bottom. And then that's the minute of the fight where I think I lost that minute. And of the whole 9 minutes, it's probably the only minute of the fight that I lost, but still it was because of a mistake I made, not something good that he did. So stuff like that really gets to me, when it's a mistake that I make and not fair play if my opponent does a great takedown or whatever, or lands a good shot. But when it's me who's making the mistake, that's when it irritates me.
It's sort of an area that it's common at the minute. I know with the Mike Thompson fight first, it was the last minute he got the takedown, wasn't it? And then fight in the IMAS, it was sort of the last minute. Is that an area you're noticing as well in your losses?
It's something, at the end of the fight, just switch off a little bit or gas tank open and kind of let go for 1 second. But we're just going to make sure it's not a recurring theme now on.
And looking on from the outside, your striking look way better, I have to say. Is that something you've been working on for that camp?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I think my striking's always something that I've never really got to show much of, and I think the more that you see it, the more you actually kind of see my game. But I think I dominated there was never me taking a back step in that fight. I was always coming forward. And even when he was landing shots, I was kind of in his face. And then 3rd round, the low kicks that I landed, that's stuff that I've been working. So seeing that land in the fight is perfect. It's what you want to see.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't shocked because he did crack you a couple of times, didn't he? And to be fair, like I said, you did keep coming forward.
Yeah, none of them landed like clean or hurt me at all. It was just kind of something in the face. But I came away with like a minor black eye from it. So he had quick hands, landed a few good shots, but nothing that I don't get hit with.
It's a fight as well that we wanted to make about a year ago, but it didn't. It actually fell through because Connor Hughes got injured, didn't he? But are you happy now you finally got this fight over the line and it's been done now, it's over with?
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one when, like, I've marked him as an opponent a year ago. So, like I say, it's nice to just get it done with, out of the way. Connor Hughes beat him, done, all these scheduled fight. We'll get there eventually.
Definitely. For just Musa as well, your teammate, a great performance from him over a very good, very, very good opponent.
Yeah, mate, Musa does what Musa does. He took him down, held him down on the floor, just smothered it. I was sat at home. I wasn't actually at the venue, so I was sat at home watching the stream. I was kind of thinking, big guy that moved. Guy's got good striking, but I watched the first minute, saw Musa take it down, and I thought, right, I know exactly how the next 2 rounds are going to go. Because once Musa does his game, it's just his game.
Definitely. And just finally, going into the decision, was there some sort of nerves there? Because there's 2 out of your 3 defeats are decisions, aren't they? And there was very closely controversial decisions. Was there a lot of nerves going into that thinking, oh, they're going to do me again here?
Yeah, I'm going to blame Tom, who was cornering me. We were going into the 3rd round. I was like, what's the scores? And he went, I don't know. Is it 1-1 then? But yeah, 1-1. So going into the 3rd round, I thought it was 1-1. I thought I'd win that round. And out of all the rounds, I thought my weakest performance was probably the 3rd round. So in my head, I'm like, I've not just fucking lost that in the last round, have I? And I these judges' scorecards, because it's all a bit of a blur. It's hard to judge when you. So a little bit of doubt. But looking back at the fight, the first 2 rounds, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Doubt on that.
I know your former opponent, Mike Thompson, as well, you got a very good win over a very good opponent as well. Is that a fight, maybe, because there's a Celtic Gladiator coming up in January, is that a fight you'd be open to having then? Trilogy?
Yeah. If that's who the promoters want to give me, then they give it. I think he's 6th in the UK now. And when I look at that top 10, I don't really know who there is who's active at the moment looking at fights. He's obviously up there getting a good win. And I like Mike. I think we can go again if we want, but the result will be the same. So it depends. It depends how many times you want to see that one go through.
Have you heard much from Celtic Gladiators on matchmaking or anything like that?
They've got my name. They're looking for someone for me now. They're kind of going to match everyone together. They've made some good fights, and the matchmaking is good there. So hopefully I get a good fight. Someone's going to get me up out of bed and fight me.
Definitely. Have you got any names in mind you'd like to fight for that? I know you've got this couple of top 5 guys. Obviously, a lot of them are inactive though. But is there any names that you'd like to have that for that card?
Hey, I'd love to be sat here and call someone out for you, but there's no one that I can necessarily pinpoint. Like just anyone above me. Like there's Haycock, with Mark Ewan, he's going pro. There's Kenny, Irish fella, he's going pro. So I mean, Haycox, if he's not going pro, I'll have him or anyone in the top 10. Just give me anyone, and I can keep proving that I should be the number 1.
Just moving on from that now. Obviously, we're out of lockdown now. What's your training status like now? Where are you training? What sort of things are you doing?
Good. Obviously, it's difficult getting training in at the moment with lockdown, but I've got my coaches. I've got my little bubbles that I'm training in. So it's not stop. I mean, ever since the past day, I was back in the day. I'm staying active. At 4th Dimension, Squad, Sheffield, everywhere I can get to, I'm getting there.
Definitely. And obviously at 4th Dimension, I've actually seen a video of you training with, was it Jordan Vucenic and Siam Boxing? And Matt, it looked like Jordan Vucenic to me. What them rounds like with him, man? Because he's a very decent professional. He's got a big fight coming up as well in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, mate, they're good rounds. I'd be lying if I said I enjoyed them. There was Thursday drive there, and it's like a little bit of a gruel, but they're some brilliant rounds. Yeah, I like to think that I'm competitive with all the pros there, and we're all pushing each other. I wouldn't be down there if I wasn't helping them. So there's some good rounds. You win some, you lose some. Some are back and forth. It's always incredible rounds. The people that are there, just high level pros, kickboxers, everyone.
Definitely. And just on squad jiu-jitsu as well. What's the plan going forward for that now? Because obviously you're out of lockdown, so I think you can open to members now as well, can't you?
Yeah, we've not managed to open as of yet. Classes aren't actually year 3, so kind of waiting for a little bit more advice on that. So we're still on hold. But as soon as we can get back open, we'll be back open. Keep getting people down to jits, and just kind of get everyone in there and show them the level of Matt and Ryan. The way their jiu-jitsu's come on over the past 6 months over lockdown, they've been taking every chance they can get to develop their game.
And just as we're drawing an end now to 2020, overall, how have you reflected on this year? It has been a up and down year for yourself, hasn't it, really?
Yeah, it's been a mad year, but it's been another year in the bank, getting fight. I'm happy with it. If I was looking back at this year and I think I didn't improve as a fighter, then but the levels I've come to, that's all I have to do. Win, lose, whatever. As long as I'm getting better as a fighter, working towards that goal, I'm happy. So 2020, a mad year. Let's hope 2021's a little bit more chilled out, but it was good.
You mentioned 2021. This will probably be our final interview, I'm guessing, because there's no more cards this year. So going into next year, where do you want to see yourself at the end of the next year?
Professional. Next year's it's the pro year. I'm going to be 21 next year. So I think towards the end of next year, I'm going to be looking at my pro debut. But I mean, either way, I'm just going to get the best amateur fights there are. I'm going to be number one on Tapology, be ranked number one for sure. I'm going to beat Liam Cracker, beat whoever I have in January. I'm going to be just ready to go pro.
I wanted to ask this, mate, I forgot. Jordan Vicenich, how do you think he actually gets on in a couple of weeks against Hughes?
Mate, I fancy Jordan to have that one. Paul Hughes, he's got a bit of hype behind him. So is Jordan, but I think looking at that, people will probably think Paul Hughes got a grappling advantage there, but Jordan's grappling over the past month load, something's been working and he's not really shown. So I think Vucenic probably gets that on a decision.
And finally, anything like that? Any sponsors you'd like to thank as well for the past few fights and stuff?
Yeah, just everyone who sponsored me for that last fight. So Pitbull for sorting out the fight kit, Look Sharp, Fine Co, who kitted me out with a load of gear for that. CB Durs providing all the products for me. Squad Jiu-Jitsu, Sheffield Shoot, and Fourth Dimension, and Pride Martial Arts as well for helping me out throughout the training.
Great stuff. Thank you for your time as always, Teddy. It's a pleasure. Great to speaking to you.
Nice one, Charlie. Cheers, mate.